So one of your big stories in the headline maker today is about the resignation of Mr. Kayode Egbetokun as the Inspector General of Police, and now we have an acting Inspector General of Police as appointed by President Bola Tinubu, which is now making rounds. The new man at the helm of affairs of the Nigerian Police Force is Mr. Tunji Disu. If you have been in Rivers State in CT, you will know him because he's the Commissioner of Police in these two regions before he now served as the AIG in charge of the FCID in Alagbon. Let's get talking about this one. One man that knows the Nigeria Police Force structure so too much is a lawyer and a security consultant. Is Dr. Charles Omole, who is virtually joining us tonight. Dr. Omole, thank you so much indeed for joining us tonight.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, indeed. You are one person that has your nose, your ears to the ground. Did you smell anything? Did you hear anything? Or this just comes to you as a surprise?
Well, you know, when you occupy the position of IG like that, there will always be rumor from time to time that you're about to be removed. There were all kinds of rumors last year, but I must say this did come as a surprise.
You will imagine there are a lot of people that have a strong, the idea of how close Kayode Egbetokun was to the president. And Tunji Disu too is not too far from the inner circle of President Bola Tinubu. For a lot of people that have been following Lagos State, Tunji Disu was in Lagos State, and he was a very popular guy on the street of Lagos because he led the task force in Lagos. So it was very popular. When Kayode Egbetokun was appointed, a lot of people said he was Bola Tinubu's right-hand man. But we'll imagine that the Police Force Act 2020 came in favor of Kayode Egbetokun, which substantively would have made Kayode Egbetokun stay in office for 4 years. So in that case, do you think that something must have happened to have made Mr. Egbetokun resign? Because resignation is a rare thing, not only for the office of the IG, but in politics and governance in Nigeria.
Well, I mean, we're going to know maybe the next days and weeks ahead the real context of his resignation. We don't know now why he resigned, but we have to take it on face value, what we're told by the presidency that he resigned, and I think in such circumstance, the president will have no choice but to accept the resignation.
Tell us about Kayode Egbetokun before we talk about Tunji Disu. Kayode Egbetokun, would you say there has been any substantial reforms or changes or any strong development or progressive ideas that have come under his leadership?
Yes, I mean, Egbetokun was the best choice of the cohort that the president had, to choose from in 2023. So from that perspective, he was the right man for the right time. And since, for his IG-ship, he did a lot of heavy lifting. You know, the challenge with the reforms within the institutions such as the police is that a lot of the changes and improvements you've made, it takes a bit of time for it to, reflect in people's day-to-day experience. For example, let me give you a typical example. The Police Act, for example, envisages that every police division will have a lawyer, who must be a police officer. Part of the expectation of the lawmakers is that will not only, make sure the police officers are straight within, they behave within, the ambits of the law, but also help strengthen human rights enforcement at the division level. But nothing has been done about that since the police was in place, so, except when Egbetokun was there. I mean, recently, he made sure, for example, just over 100 of graduates from the police academy went to law school and became lawyers. That is the highest infusion of lawyers as officers in the history of Nigerian police. Now, things like that will not feed into public perception until months or even years later. So there are lots of changes he did it moved the police more in the direction of proactive policing rather than reactive policing. And, the officers' accommodation, like it did a lot of that. Lots of, for example, when he came in, there were years of insurance payment to dead police officers, families, and those who were injured. In fact, some of the deaths were way back as 5 years ago, before him. But he came in and cleared all of those, So there's a lot of things he's clearly has achieved, which, in light of day, when it's properly documented, Nigerians will have a better understanding of what he has done. And of course, leadership in a situation like this is a continuum, and I'm sure acting IG Disu will benefit from quite a lot of the things which Egbetokun did, because you also realize, for those who don't know, when Egbetokun actually was made IG, the now acting IG Disu was his PSO for the first year or so. So they worked hand to hand, closely together, So that, I think, will help with a sense of being able to continue with the good things that Egbetokun has done, and then, of course, IG Disu will inject his own, brand and mind of, tactical know-how to, rejig the police in certain directions.
In essence, the man Egbetokun, and I was asking you about the reality of a resignation in office of a public officer. How often, we see this happen in the UK. We've seen prime ministers in the UK who have resigned voluntarily. But, this is rare, isn't it, for you? Or am I the only one seeing some unusual thing happening here?
Well, actually, to think of it, I don't think now reflecting on it, I don't think I am 100% surprised that he resigned, if indeed, that's what happened. Because, the issue, I remember having a discussion with him. This was, I think, January last year or so, or was it sometime last year when there's rumor all over the place that it was going to be replaced. And I remember him telling me that, look, it's fulfilled. That even if it was IG for just one day, his name is in history as an IG. So whether it's 1 day, 2 days, it's irrelevant. So it was a contented man, extremely humble, and he didn't allow the thing to get to his head. So I don't think, if there's a reason he feels his attention is needed elsewhere, I don't see any. It's not inconsistent to see him resigning, But like I said, I don't know the facts. It's what has been released that we've been told, and I've not been able to talk to him either. So I really don't have anything beyond what's in the media at the moment that he resigned.
Talk to us about the legality, the conundrum that the Police Act, as amended, was intending to resolve because of the issue relating to stability, leadership of the Nigerian police force. And there are a lot of people who came with a lot of controversy, argued and debated that that shouldn't be, Tenure controversy was a major issue when that amendment came. But now with this, are we going to be able to achieve that stability in leadership in the Nigerian police force?
Well, one of the key intentions of the Police Act clearly has to do with the what I call security of tenure by IG. There was a time in this country under President Jonathan that we had 10 IGs in 10 years. And it was clear to everybody that there's no way, that could continue. So the lawmakers, I think, when they crafted the Police Act, put a 4-year tenure for an IG as a way of giving security of tenure so that they can focus on strategic, improvement within the police rather than short-term daily activities. But the challenge with the crafting of the law is that the law was not done in consonance with the reality in the Nigerian police force. For example, the law states that for you to be considered as an IG by the president, you need to be minimum the rank of an AIG, Assistant Inspector General of Police. But the truth, and then you spend 4 years. But the challenge is that if anybody has any history of Nigerian police, know that you will hardly find anybody who is an AIG who has 4 years left in service. In fact, most CPs in Nigerian police force right now, as I speak, right, 90% of the CPs have less than 4 years left in service, much less AIGs. So when that law was crafted, that was a problem. Under IGP Idris, when, the law came in, there was problem with the issue of the IG-ship, and that nobody can be an AIG and still have 4 years left in service, except in very few cases. And we know the reason why those cases. Those are people who got a lot of special promotion, and then, left their courts behind and, got higher posted. So the challenge for any president, and which this president faced, therefore, was that he had to choose within the rank of AIG, and the law says 4 years. But if there's nobody that has 4 years left in service, what do we do? That was what led to the amendment of the Act in 2024. Section 18 of the Act, which inserted, if you can read that clause, it is a short one, says, notwithstanding provisions of the subsection of this Act, any person appointed to the office of the Inspector General of Police shall remain in office until the end of the term stipulated in the letter of appointment, in line with the provision of Section 7 of the Act, which means, therefore, the letter sent, appointing you as IG keeps you in position for 4 years, regardless of how long you have to spend statutorily within the police. And that was the amendment that was made. And for me, I really don't see that as a big problem, because that was trying to address a specific problem of the fact that we will not have a lot of AIGs that have 4 years left in service. So you clearly have to put that exemption in place to allow an IG to be appointed who may not have 4 years left in service. And this is what happened. Egbetokun just happened to have been the first beneficiary of that amendment. IG, Disu, future IGs, they will all be beneficiaries of that amendment as well. So in terms of the legality, a new IG is supposed to spend 4 years in service. And I think the exemptions given by the Act relates to either gross misconduct or the presidencies that the person is not performing, or the person resigns. Those are the conditions under which those 4 years can be abridged.
So quickly, Dr. Omole, this by the virtue of the elevation of AIG Tunji Disu, in the hierarchy and the leadership of the Nigerian police force, the commissioner of police position or rank is the natural highest rank of a police officer. AIG, DIG looks like a professional political appointment that comes when you get that position. It's a privilege. After commissioner of police, you've reached almost the peak of your career, and not talk of being an IG. That means Disu senior will automatically, like the likes of Frank, automatically will have to retire. Is that what it means? Or is contemporaries, AIG contemporaries and DIG seniors will automatically have to retire? Is that what it means?
Well, not exactly. I know in the military it tends to be more automatic. In the police, it's not naturally automatic. By convention, you don't want to work under your junior. But if an AIG, if an IG finds there's a DIG that he feels his skill is unique, that will be difficult to replace, or he feels it can work with that person, and that DIG doesn't mind, the DIG can be retained by the new IG. So there's no law that says, all the seniors must go. No, it's just a convention, but it doesn't mean they will all go. The whole idea really of them going really for the police tend to be, issue of insubordination and being able to control your subordinates. So if somebody is your senior, they, somehow they might not easily obey your command or your instruction, even though you are the IG. So it's that really is what informs that convention. But it doesn't mean they automatically have to leave.
All right. Finally, let's talk about the man Tunji Disu. He's got street credibility in the local parlance. In Lagos, he's very well known. He led a task force, the RRT, in Lagos, which was very popular. The man, I've seen him on motorbikes himself. In Lagos, I've seen him, literally. Very agile, very mobile, very active guy. And I think that he's one guy that loves to be on the field. But, I mean, being an IG, you're an administrator, you're a manager, you are a whole lot of things apart from being on the field, which I think Tunji Disu might miss. He's not spent too long a time being a manager at CP and AIG. But who is this man, Tunji Disu, as much as you know, Dr. Mali?
Well, I mean, acting IG Disu is, quite frankly, the best choice. If Egbeto is to leave, I mean, if the president had asked my opinion, which he didn't, but Disu will have been the person I would choose. He's an operations guy. When I mean operations guy, I'm talking of operations guy. He's one of this guy that go into the bush to deal with the bad guys. So he's not a paper. I remember when he became the PSO to the now Egbeto, the former IG. One of the discussions I had with Disu at that time was, like you rightly identified, the struggle of him doing more of office-based work rather than being on the streets, doing what he loves to do best. So he's an operations man. He just reminds me of the Tafa Balogun, ex-AIG. So you see, he's coming in that mold of somebody who's an operations guy. And given the security challenges we have in Nigeria at the moment, the president couldn't have made a better choice than Disu somebody who may not be there himself, but he knows all the tactical terrains and the strategies needed to move the police to the next level. And I'm certain within the next few months, people will know a new sheriff is in town. I'm certain of that.
We certainly want to see a new sheriff in town. But the question right here is that there are those who will say, not the best time to be the IG of police considering the situation, the security situation in the country. The man is coming right in the middle of a lot of battle that he needs to fix. This is the moment. The president also talked about state policing just yesterday. And the fact remains that there are those who will say, if you want to make anything out of a serious or difficult situation, it's at a challenging time that a very competent person is identified. Your final word for Mr. Disu. Anything for him to watch out for?
Well, I mean, my advice to him really, is he needs to use the leverage of him not coming in as an IG to please impress on the president. More money needs to be released to the police. I can say that now because last year, I don't think any operational budget was released to the police at all throughout 2025. That's how bad it was. So they were making money, trying to find money to do their operations from all over the place. So really, you should plead that more money should be made available to do, because if more resources are made available to him, all the ideas he has in terms of operational excellence and all that require money. And that will not happen if the current budget settlement of the police is not changed. So number one, he needs to plead for more funding for the police. And secondly, I think he also needs to pick the good things out of what Egbeto has done and run with it, and expand those things and make them even better. And more importantly, I think he needs to reposition the Nigerian police in terms of the engagement with the public. I mean, for example, something like a quarterly IG media chat, for example, would not be a bad idea, where once a quarter the press have a way of interacting with the IG and asking him any question. Things that soften the image of the police and increase the interaction with the public. He needs to do a lot of that, because a lot of the good work that's happening internally within the police is not visible to the public. So it's through such interactions that he can use his own words to explain what's been done, how the police has been improved, and plea for patience for Nigerians to see the full fruit of his hard work. So he has his work cut out, but if any man can do it, Disu can do it.
Thank you so much, Dr. Charles Omole, for your time tonight. I appreciate it. Dr. Charles Omole is a lawyer, an author, and a security consultant. Thanks so much indeed for your time.